Air Quality Management District to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Carr. Cruz.
Here.
Ross. Guerra.
Here.
Hanson.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Kennedy. Here. Glasson.
Here.
Natoli. Pierce. Serna.
Here.
Starsky.
Here.
Terry.
Here. Thank you very much. Mr. Cruz, would you like to do the pledge for us?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Madam Clerk, please call the first item.
Excuse me, sorry.
First item, please.
Can I read the statement here?
Oh, yes.
This meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District is cablecast live without interruption on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T U-verse. This meeting is being closed captioned and will be webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will be repeated on Sunday, January 31st at 3 p.m. on Channel 14. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a speaker identification form located in the back and give it to the clerk. Please speak into the microphone when addressing the board and state your name for the record. Also, at this time, please silence your cell phones until the conclusion of today's meeting. And the first item on the agenda is a special presentation, resolution honoring Bridget Tolstrup on her retirement and her 26 years of service to the district.
Mr. Air Pollution Control Officer.
You want me to read this?
Yeah, so first, I think everybody knows Bridget and what a wonderful part of the team that she's been. Integral, obviously 26 years is no short amount of time, and we really appreciate your level of professionalism, your dedication, and what you've done to increase the public's health through better air over those 26 years. It's very sad to lose you, though.
Thank you very much.
And Larry's prepared a resolution, and I think he'd also like to say something.
Yes, certainly would. This was a very hard retirement to take. Bridget has been here in the region for longer than I have, and she has really left a legacy of great air quality, of progress toward health-based, a better health outcome for the people in this region. She's been a leader at the district. She has always given me great advice and straightforward advice. And I appreciate that. She's always been a person who holds the line on the right thing to do, watching out for the public health, and she's very firm and in her beliefs as to how she thinks we should be doing our business, and she has a very high standard for herself and her employees. So losing somebody of that caliber with that record is very difficult, but I know that she and her husband will have a great retirement. They have many things that they have in line, a great family, and they're going to look forward to a good time for them. And we wish her well, as we do everyone. We thank them for the service that they do and wish them an excellent time in their retirement and whatever other pursuits they have. I told her that we carried this resolution here, but she has to carry it home. So I'll read that. If
You might be a gentleman and carry it back to the office for a
I will read this, and then we'll give Bridget a chance to say something if she wants to. I know she's been dreading this, but that's okay. She should have an opportunity to say something. So this resolution is from the board, signed by the board chair and myself and Nancy, and it's honoring Bridget Tolstrup on her retirement. Whereas Bridget Tolstrup, Program Coordination Division Manager, is retiring in February 2016 after 26 years of outstanding and loyal service to the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District and the citizens of Sacramento County. And whereas Ms. Tolstrup was hired by the Air District on May 28, 1989, became a Supervisor Air Quality Specialist in July 1996, and was later promoted to the Program Coordination Division Manager on August the 7th, 1997. And whereas in her managerial capacity, Ms. Tolstrup has been a key leader for her staff and for the district for many successful projects and programs that have improved the air quality and public health in Sacramento County and the region. Whereas Mrs. Tolstrup has been recognized for many years within the California Air Districts, the California Air Resources Board, the federal EPA, the regulated community, and environmental groups within the region as one of California's premier air quality experts. And whereas this expertise has served the district well, leading to attainment of the PM10 standard, National Ambient Air Quality Standard in 2000, and the 1990 1-hour NAAQS in 2009, and attainment of the 1997 8-hour NAAQS in 2015 pending EPA's clean data finding. And whereas with a determination of attainment by US EPA in 2012 for the 2006 24-hour PM 2.5 NAAQS, the district is again well on its way to achieving another clean air milestone. And whereas through Mrs. Tolstrup's leadership and expertise, the district submitted the first and only exceptional events request in the nation for an exceedance of ambient air quality ozone standard, directly leading to attainment of the 1990 1-hour ozone NAAQS. And whereas Mrs. Tolstrup was a key leader in developing, presenting to the board, and implementing Rule 421, mandatory episodic curtailment of wood and other solid fuel burning, one of the district's most effective rules, which led to the district's success in gaining a determination of attainment for the 2006 PM 2.5 NAAQS. And whereas Mrs. Tolstrup's expertise and leadership has been instrumental in developing many effective emission control measures that help the district attain standards, and throughout her tenure has shown exceptional skill in explaining complex air quality issues to the district board and to me, other key leaders in the region and the public. Whereas while leading these efforts, Ms. Tolstrup was able to bring sound scientific and engineering considerations to the fore, thereby properly balancing competing concerns of the regulated and environmental communities so that the vast majority of the district's rules and regulations have been adopted without dissent. And whereas Mrs. Tolstrup managed the Administrative Services Division in addition to the Program Coordination Division from November 2010 to November 2014, helping the district financially weather the recent recession. And whereas Mrs. Tolstrup has consistently responded with ingenuity and foresight to the duties and responsibilities given her, and has set an example of dedication to principle which has been an inspiration to her fellow employees. Therefore, be it resolved that we, the Board of Directors, this 28th day of January 2016, do hereby extend to Bridget Tolstrup our sincere and grateful appreciation for her dedicated service to the district, our congratulations on her well-earned retirement, and our best wishes to her and her family for continued success, happiness, and good health in the years to come.
Well, I think I agreed to come here today on the promise that I wouldn't have to address the board, just because it's difficult to say goodbye. It's been a real honor to serve you and the citizens of Sacramento County for all these years. It's kind of overwhelming to listen to all the things that Larry's gone through, and none of it would have been possible without the support of this board, Larry Green, his predecessor, Norm Cavell, and of course the staff of the Program Coordination Division, particularly Alita Kennard, who's been my right arm for all these years, and Charles Anderson, who is my right arm on the planning side of things. They've done a great job. All of the staff in the Program Coordination Division and the Admin Division couldn't have been more supportive for me over the years. They're excellent staff, committed and poised to continue the great work and the mission of the district. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
You're not done yet.
Okay.
As much as we don't want you to be done, we're going to try to delay this. We have at least one board member signed up to speak, Mr. Starsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bridget, I just want to say I've served with you for 15 of your 26 years on this board, and you have always been, in my opinion, a consummate professional. I appreciated very much you teaching me a very technical area that is very difficult to grasp, and I think Larry's notation in the commendation there that you did make very complex issues much easier for me to understand. You spent a lot of years doing that, and I've learned a lot. I consider myself to be now somewhat of an expert in this area because of you. But I wanted to thank you very much for your service to the community, because you have been a true public servant, and then secondarily your service to this board. I think as the newer members have come along, you really do make this at least easier to understand. I won't say easy to understand because it never is, but thank you very much. I just wanted to say I appreciated your service, but I especially appreciate everything you've done to make me understand this, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Starsky. Congratulations on your retirement, and we're going to miss you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Madam Clerk? Oh, did you
Next
want to do a
item-
picture, Larry? I'm sorry. Larry, would you like to do a picture?
Yes, we would, actually.
Does somebody have a camera?
You want me to do? I've got a camera.
Let's see.
Yeah, let's go up. Does the board want to stand in the background?
I think we should.
Is there at least a photo?
Congratulations. Tighten it up here. I hang out with the short guys. There we go. So we shuffle the chairs.
Music stopped. Got my own little section down here.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Okay. Next item is the Air Pollution Control Officer's report. Introduction of new employees, Nicholas Lang, Administrative Services, Richard Muzzy and Kevin Robeson, Program Coordination, and promoted employee Paul Philly of the Land Use and Transportation section. And Larry will give an update on Capital to Capital for 2016.
Okay, I'm happy to announce a few employees we have here filling some of the positions as people have retired at the district. Nicholas Lang. Nicholas, say hello. Nicholas, we're happy to announce him as our new district controller. He comes to the district with an extensive background in accounting. Nick has worked for the California State Audit as an auditor, evaluator for almost 4 years, and he worked at CalSTRS as an accounting administrator for 6 years. Nick received his bachelor's degree at Cal State University, Long Beach, where he received cum laude academic honors and President's List honors. He is a certified public accountant and certified internal auditor certification. Nick also served as an intelligence officer in the California National Guard. Please join me in welcoming Nick. Okay. Richard? Hello. Richard Muzzy, Associate Air Quality Planner Analyst. Please join me in welcoming Richard Muzzy to the district as an Associate Air Quality Planner Analyst in the Program Coordination Division. Rich has a master's degree in watershed science from Colorado State University and a bachelor's degree in environmental studies and economics from the University of California at Santa Cruz. Prior to joining the district, Rich worked as an environmental program manager at the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments for 17 years. Prior to that, he worked for almost 3 years as an environmental scientist with Jacobs Engineering Group in Martinez, California. We are pleased to have Rich as part of our team. Okay. And Kevin Robinson. Kevin Robinson is our new Associate Air Quality Engineer in the Program Coordination Division. He earned his master's degree in Civil Environmental Engineering from the University of California, Los Angeles, and received his bachelor's degree in Mechanical Engineering from the University of California, Berkeley. Prior to joining the district, Kevin worked for several years as a project engineer in TRC Energy Services in Gold River. He also worked for Southern California Edison as an energy efficiency engineer and technical specialist, as a high school physics teacher in Los Angeles, as a project manager for Olson Steel in San Lorenzo, and as a project engineer for Homer J. Olson Incorporated in Hayward, California. He's certified as an energy analyst, an energy manager in training, a lead green associate, and a professional mechanical engineer. We're very happy to have Kevin in the Program Coordination Division. and Paul Philly, who is not here because he's finishing a deadline for one of the cap and trade projects, and you'll hear about that in the future. We have our fingers crossed for some electric buses in the Sacramento region, and Paul has done a tremendous job in taking that project across the finish line here. Getting in, the date's tomorrow, and we'll get that finished and over to the Air Resources Board. He was recently promoted from his position of Associate Air Quality Planner Analyst to the District Program Coordinator position in Land Use and Transportation. Paul joined the district over 7 years ago as an Assistant Air Quality Planner Analyst, following a brief time with the City of Sacramento as an Assistant Planner. He has his Master's degree in Urban Planning from the University of California, Los Angeles, and graduated from Cal State University, Bakersfield, with a bachelor's degree in geology. And we'll have him at a future meeting and congratulate him on that. I am very happy to see the credentials and how effective our recruiting process has been in bringing in some really high-quality people to the district, and we're very pleased to have them here.
Thank you.
Also have 4 other people to introduce, our Civic Spark Fellows for this year in the Sacramento region. As we've told you, Civic Spark is a governor's initiative of AmeriCorps, and these fellows are vetted just like we're recruiting people, and we try to. They're graduates of college. They're graduates, and they come in specifically selected for specific tasks we have. And if they'll stand up, there's four very hardworking young ladies here, and they're a really great part of the staff here. I'll read a little bit about each one. Claire Curley is a native of Sacramento. Claire, wave. Graduated from UC Berkeley with her BA in Peace and Conflict Studies in 2013. She's a member of Climate Reality Leadership Corps and has worked on environmental justice projects in the Bay Area. Her goal is to work with underserved communities in California on climate justice issues. Laura Elliot. Laura graduated from Colorado State University with degrees in political science and economics. She interned at the Colorado General Assembly with the chair of the House Transportation and Energy Committee, where she learned about environmental policy and implementation. She's an aspiring urban planner and hopes Civic Spark will broaden her knowledge of planning and building local resilience. Alexis Crackle. Alexis is a graduate of the University of Idaho with a Bachelor's of Science in Environmental Science. In 2011, she was invited to be a researcher for PBS DPTV Corps of Discovery. Currently, she is an instructor at Kaplan College as well as a Civic Spark Fellow. In her free time, she enjoys reading books, racing cars, and being outdoors. Very good. Annika Ragsdale. Annika graduated from Humboldt State University in May 2015. She finished with a degree in environmental science with a focus on energy and climate change, and spent her time working at Humboldt State Campus Center of Appropriate Technology. Before beginning Civic Spark, she moved to Point Reyes for the summer to work as a camp cook and to explore the California coast. So join us in welcoming these young ladies here. They're a very important part of the district and are doing important projects for our region and in your cities and in the county. I wanted to remind the board that Capital to Capital 2016 is coming up 9 through 13 April. Many of you are veterans of that effort. We have on our equality team, we always like to have several of the elected officials from our board as well as boards from other districts in the region. And if you're planning to go and you're going to be on the air quality team, we can help pay a part of that cost. So Nancy will work with you on that. Yeah. So check with her, and it's time to be signing up and registering for that. So I wanted to remind the board members about that.
And I'm planning to go. Are any other board members? Mr. Cruz, Mr. Lee, Mr. Guerra, are you going? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. If you haven't worked with Nancy, please do. The first group of flights, which are the direct flights, has already sold out. So I would move fast to secure your flights. Okay. To remind the board, you're going to see some changes in the meeting, public meeting process and board packets as we work through this automation process that we have underway for the next couple of years. We're moving toward fully automating the administration of the public meeting process. We'll have an electronic board packet fully integrated with a portal for board members.
a more robust document search of the district website for both the board members and the public, on-demand index videos of board meetings, and potentially live streaming of meetings. In the process of selecting a software solution right now, we've been working with the City and County of Sacramento board clerk staffs because they have a lot of experience, and we had them down at the district from the county yesterday going over the process that they work with you. With our board of supervisors. The goal is to be live with the process for the April or May board meeting. So we're just charging ahead with that, and it's a very important part of what we're doing here. And that's all that I have in my portion of the meeting today.
Great. Madam Clerk, next item.
The Board of Directors will hold a closed session in hearing room number 1 at the conclusion of this meeting to discuss the following item as time allows: Executive Appraisal, District Council, Government Code Section 54957. The next item is the consent calendar, items 1 through 7.
The consent calendar.
We have a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous vote.
Okay. Next item is under staff. It's item number 8. Larry Green will give a presentation, receive and file the APCO report on district activities in 2015 and goals for 2016.
And Mr. Green, just so you know, we have a couple of directors who have to leave by 9:45, so in order to do the closed session, I would try to move through this somewhat quickly.
This will be pretty quick.
Great.
I did want to give the board a bit of an update. The past year, some important things happened. The governor signed SB 518, flexibility. This gave us flexibility and more program funding that we're working through right now. It'll allow us to use our money more readily. The district attained the 85 parts per billion ozone standard last year, 2 years early. And that's a testament to the work that Bridget has done, but also the whole district and the truck and bus rule. It's a combination of many, many things. And we did, I have here, we may have attained, we found out yesterday, we did attain the 35 microgram PM 2.5 standard last day of the year. 35.2 for the year, so that rounds down to 35, so we're in good shape there. Very happy about that. And so far, as you all know, this year is looking real good. So we're very happy. Just keep those storms coming through. Other milestones: a federal clean power plan was approved at EPA. We did a lot of work at NACA and trying to ensure that the document that EPA passed was a document that was as kind, doable, as flexible as possible for states and local agencies across the nation. So the work at NACA, we put a lot of time in on that particular effort. The Paris Accord was signed, and I represented NACA along with Bill Becker in Paris for that event, and I'll say a little bit about that in a second. And the Senate, the state passed several greenhouse gas bills that will impact the district and the region as we move forward over time, especially in the adaptation area. This is Bill Becker and I at the UN meeting. Our purpose there was to send back to the membership of NACA. NACA paid for that trip, our National Air Association, a daily report. We sent 12 reports back. Of what was happening in Paris, both at the high level and also what was happening at the level of the meetings and such that we went to. We did a lot of interfacing with California staff that were there, the governor, former Governor Schwarzenegger, and many of the, we had a number of elected officials there, but also business leaders from California were there. We got a good chance to interface and work with them. So I think even for our area here, we will get some positive benefits out of just the personal interactions that we had there. Just to give you a scope of this, the Paris scale, 150 heads of state were there early in the meeting, 195 countries, essentially every country in the world except for, I think, Kosovo and Taiwan, and maybe a couple of other very small countries aren't members of the UN, but everyone else was there. It required a consensus to get approval for the draft plan, and that was achieved on the last day, on Saturday, actually a day later than the event was scheduled for. 40,000 delegates in the blue zone, which was the zone where the negotiations went on. I can't tell you how impressive that is to see those people and how hard everyone was working there. The facility was a square kilometer in size. It was at La Bourget, which is where Lindbergh landed coming across the Atlantic, and also where they hold the Paris Air Show every other year. You can see some of the other parameters here. I will note the Compact of Mayors, 360 cities pledging to deliver half of the potential urban emissions that are required by 2020. So it was a very impressive event, and very dedicated people from around the world. I think that one of the parameters for getting that across the finish line, as you know, you have 195 countries all coming to the conference with what they want and what they must have and what they really want. The negotiation, getting them through this 2 weeks, even after 5 years of prep effort, starting with Copenhagen, was impressive. The French minister was absolutely great in leading that, and it's sort of curious that the terrorist attack before the event probably gave the French a little bit of deferential treatment and arm-twisting ability that he might not have had before, and could have actually had some effect on getting the agreement in the end. But they did pass an agreement that I think is visionary and will be very important as the world moves on in dealing with climate. You can see in the next slide what the agreement had. I won't go through those. You can read that. I do want to talk about a few national issues. Clean power, looking into the upcoming year. Clean Power Plan is still being deployed. We're working very hard with our states and locals around the U.S. In their implementation effort of that. 75 parts per billion ozone plan is due mid-year. Our staff will be working hard on that. And now that we have attained, we will be working on an attainment plan for the 35 microgram PM 2.5 standard. EPA has updated the exceptional events rule after 6 or 7 years of effort. I mean, we've been working with EPA for years on a very bad rule that they had. The latest draft is much better and will make it much easier for our staff to identify times when we're being impacted, for example, with smoke in the summertime from fires, and it's making our ozone go up. We'll be able to flag those days and back those out of our attainment in a much more easy fashion than we would have. So this has been, I think, one of the real success stories of the work we've done nationally with NACA and with other districts in California. As you all know, the elections in November will have an impact on the federal agencies that we work with, and also locally, but more importantly at the federal level. We'll just have to wait like everyone else and see what's happening, and we're continuing our efforts on the wood stove incentive program. In the state, we did get $40 million through the work of CAPCOA in the governor's budget, cap and trade budget for districts, money that would go through districts for incentives for wood stoves. And that money we're very hopeful and likely some of that money will come to our district for use here. And we will also, a lot of that money will go to rural districts in California, helping to provide to the rural areas of California some benefit from the cap and trade money. Climate work will continue, and legislation is just starting, and we'll be tracking that as we go through the year. Local issue, of course, transitions. You all know the transitions that are happening in the other agencies. That affects us. I have a responsibility to work with my peers who are here and how we transition our work with them through a new person, and then I'll be working with whoever is selected for those positions in reestablishing relationships for the district. Update of IT systems is continuing throughout this year. We will do a classification study and have negotiations for a new employee contract this fall. And that's one of the reasons I extended my time here, was because I felt like it was better for the district, since I've done several of these before, and for the employees if I was around through this process, instead of having a new person here who hadn't had experience with the employees and the staff. We have to complete our risk management assessment plan. I mentioned the SIP work. And we will continue working with and extending our partnerships with other agencies, because that's how we leverage the work that we do here, working with Valley Vision, working with the Local Government Commission, and many other organizations. I wanted to mention real quick the work we're doing on adaptation. This is an organization called the Alliance of Regional Collaboratives for Climate Adaptation. Adaptation has become a very important issue in California. Legislature had several bills last year on this. The governors talked about it. And dealing with fire, flood, the impacts of global warming, but also the impacts of just the weather here in California is something that's very serious, and this organization is working on this. You can see here our local collaborative, the Capital Region Climate Readiness Collaborative, an important group of people meeting quarterly and also doing work throughout the year to respond to the state staff when they are passing regulations and rules, ensuring that when they pass regulations and rules, they're workable at our level and they have our interest in hand.
Larry, this is
yes.
This is actually one of the 6 pillars in the governor's latest executive order, is it not?
Yes.
All right.
Certainly is. Thank you. And we are positioned to be ahead of this power curve because of the work we've done over 3 years instead of now trying to figure out how to do this. This is one key area here, working with the urban region on the urban-rural connection. They support, the forests there support our water, flood control, and so on. This is an area that hasn't been done well, and as you know, just reading in the paper, you see a lot about this. We just found out one of the initiatives that we supported and pushed for at the state level was an award under the National Disaster Resilience Competition of $70 million to respond to the rim fire impacts. This is a fantastic project and will be very helpful in Tuolumne County and in both responding to that fire and also positioning us to be able to deal with that in future years. Looking at the future, my transition, I'll be back to the board talking about a specific transition plan in the budget presentations as we move forward over the next months. In funding, several programs will end over the next several years, the 1B bond, CCAT, and the key is to have a good 5-year plan financially, and you all know how hard we work on that. Bike share rollout, looking forward to that in May of 2017, if not sooner. Continue to leverage climate funding. We'll be back to the board with a report. Valley Vision collects that information for us, and we'll be back to the board about how we're doing in the Sacramento region on climate funding. We received, as you know, a community toxics grant, $300,000+ that we'll be working on across this particular year and into next year. We'll have a 70 parts per billion ozone SIP and attainment plan due in the future. Transitions in air monitoring, and then of course our climate and climate adaptation work. So you can see we're very busy, we're doing a lot of things, we're positioning ourselves to leverage the future as we see it coming and to be in place to respond to what's happening as we see it. So that's my report.
Thank you, Larry. I don't see any board members sign up to speak. Does anybody have questions? Nope, seeing, hearing none. I have no members of the public signed up to speak on items not on the agenda. And if there aren't board comments, we'll go into closed session. All right, let's adjourn the meeting to closed session.